You're listening to the oneofus.net podcast network.
Something's coming.
Stand by. Hold on to your hats, here we go.
Welcome to the ScreamCast episode 100, baby.
This is milestones. Congratulations, Sean.
Thank you. Congratulations, Brad. I am Sean DeRager, of course, and with me, as always, is Brad Henderson.
Hey, episode 100.
100. Normally we'd schedule some big, gigantic, orgy fest or something.
It is.
But in a sense, it is. Today we're going to be talking about Vinegar Syndrome's March bundle, including Pigs, SexWorld, Blue Ice, and INFRASEXUM. So if you are getting these bundles and, if you're into movies like this, it is a steal. So we recommend you doing that. But we're going to talk about those in just a little bit. But first, we need to jump into what's on our doorstep.
Holy cow, I almost forgot.
We'll get the door.
Now, I've been gone.
Yeah.
So you've probably watched a shit ton. I was in Hawaii, so I did not watch shit. Like, why would I watch a movie when I'm in, the most beautiful place on earth?
I was in fucking Hawaii.
I am broke as a joke now. It's, it's fun, but then you get back and you look at your bank account, and you're like, oh, fuck, what do we do?
To be honest, I actually haven't watched that much because I've been busy on a couple projects. So
Okay.
I got to watch, some things, but for the most part, man, I've been a little slow. I've bought a ton of shit. I've bought probably over 100 movies in the past, month, it seems. But honestly, I haven't had a lot of time to watch them. But I'll go through fairly quickly what I've seen. But that's about it.
Okay.
So, I bought a bunch of the Cult Classic Collection movies from Germany, which a lot of those titles have not been released on Blu-ray. And
I've been eyeing some of those.
Yeah, most of them are out of print on DVD. I finally got around to watching, after all these years, Double Dragon.
Oh.
With Mark Dacascos and Scott Wolf.
Yes.
Also starring Robert Patrick. The movie, man, I wish I could have saw this when I was 10. Because it was 10 years old when I came out.
Right.
But I just never got into it. I wasn't that big into the game, but I remember seeing the trailer for it and everybody being excited. It was just one of those things that always passed me by. Man, it is a really goofy movie. And I think it's a little before its time, too, because, they were kind of doing this, cyberpunk thing for it that just didn't feel like it would fit, because I remember playing the game Double Dragon. I don't remember too much cyberpunk being in it, but everything's cyber-esque, which is a little odd. I just think it was a little too much for what they wanted to do, and plus it's just not a very good movie. However, the transfer's all right. I mean, it's decent. Fucking if you get on Amazon Germany and you catch one of their deals, you can pay roughly they have a big selection of $5 movies. And when you get your Prime discount and stuff, because they don't charge VAT, you get, I got these Blu-rays for $6 a piece.
Damn.
So I was thinking $6.34 is what I paid. So, I mean, it's better than fucking paying $100 for Double Dragon on DVD. Of course, I got around to the BBD on the Sunset and Sunsweat Sand Mill Creek box that has a bunch of cool movies in it. Perfect, which I've always really liked. Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, Hard Body, Spring Break, and what was the other one that's in there? I don't really remember.
It's around here somewhere.
Well, anyways, I wanted to watch because one of my favorite sex comedies is Hard Bodies. I fucking love Hard Bodies so much. It's just really fun. there's like this weird, like kind of cool message that they flow in there too. I know this like Hard Bodies isn't philosophical at all because it's, you know, it's about boobs and having sex, but like there's this like really heartfelt moment when Scotty like stands up for Candy, the candy wrapper girl, because the guy like tries to rape her on the beach. And he has a talk with her. He's like, you know, you do that to guys, they're going to go crazy. You just have to be careful. He doesn't say, like, you can't dress like that or you can't do this. He's like, when you do that, you're going to attract these guys and you need to be more careful. And I always thought that was kind of cool because you always hear, like, well, if you dress like a slut, you're going to get treated like a slut. Well, that's not how it should be.
That's douchebag bro logic.
Yeah, it's a girl should be able to dress how she wants, whether it's slutty or not. It doesn't really matter. It's just how she dresses. Well, Hard Bodies kind of like takes that a little bit. I mean, Scotty does say, hey, you need to be more careful. But I don't know. There's this really, like, I know it's supposed to put animosity between Scotty and his girlfriend with the, you know, the one, you know, douche bro, the like leader of the pack. But I don't know. I kind of like that little turn of events. But it's just an all-around fun movie. There's a lot of great moments. It's a great soundtrack. It's definitely one of the best sex comedies out there. And it honestly doesn't look much different from the actual DVD that Anchor Bay released. Okay. Because they released actually 1 and 2 on DVD in a pack. This is just the first one. But honestly, I really can't tell much difference. I'd seen the movie 100 times, probably. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, anytime I find out somebody hasn't seen Hard Bodies, I'm like, dude, I'm going to change your fucking life.
Well, I want to watch this. I bought it as well. It was super cheap, like $8.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Just for Hard Bodies. Yeah, if you haven't seen Hard Bodies, it's worth it. But Perfect's a lot of fun, and Spring Break's a great sex comedy.
I have that on DVD. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah. I finally got around to watching Fall Break, a.k.a. The Mutilator. On Blu-ray from Arrow. I've always really liked this movie as a kid as kind of a slasher. It was nice because you actually get to see everything that's going on because the fucking VHS tape was so goddamn dark. And the movie takes place mostly all at night in the dark. So you can't even really see what's going on. It's still fairly dark because it's just poor production. But it's just such an oddball movie. I mean, you had this director, God, I can't remember his name now. It's shit.
Oh, I got the Blu-ray right here.
Buddy.
We may have a movie launch. Hold on.
Buddy Cooper. Don't worry about it, Sean. I got it.
Got it. You got it. Okay.
So I think Buddy Cooper like owned like like a hotel or this resort or whatever, and so people were like, "Oh, you should make a movie." So he just fucking wrote a script and got a camera with his friends and made a movie, and it's the only movie he ever made. Yeah, it's just a really oddball movie because you kind of, it's one of those slashers from the 80s, but it's not a guess who. You automatically know who it is, like 15 minutes into the movie. You just watch these kids get picked off one by one, by pick, by axe, by sword, bye-bye. I always liked that fucking tagline. I thought that was great. But, the transfer's wonderful. Like I said, you can actually see what's going on. This is a long-awaited movie because it was one of those slashers that was always talked about, but really, really hard to find, and you could only find it on bootlegs. And there was a lot of rumors who was releasing it. I know Code Red at one time was saying they're releasing it, but I'm actually really glad that a company like Arrow got their hands on it because they can give a proper release. Of course they do, like a 2K scan of the print. I mean, all their titles now, all Arrow titles are getting this special treatment that they're going above and beyond, which I love because you can justify spending your money on that. And I'm finally glad, props to Scream Factory, because the last few titles they've released and spoke about and announced, they're actually giving that treatment too.
Yeah.
Because I know that Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a new transfer from the Enter Positive. So they're not doing these old HD masters. I mean, they finally got Hellhole going to resurrect. They're doing it with Return of the Living Dead, which is a huge thing, I think, because, that movie's been on Blu-ray and had a lot of releases, but it still doesn't look that great.
Right.
So I'm really excited about that. I think we're all done and all set about Batman. versus Superman. I will
haven't
just
even seen it
say,
yet.
I love Batman, but this is by far one of the most incoherent movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
Sorry, DC fanboys. And I'm not a Marvel fanboy, so I'm biased on that subject. I just love Batman.
You didn't get big fat chunks of money from freaking Marvel and Disney?
It's so weird. I revisited Crawl, and I know a lot of people have seen Crawl, but dude, Crawl's really fucking good. And like, it holds up like 100%. Like, it has its like goofy moments, but dude, Crawl is like the shit. It has some really cool fucking special effects. Some, like, I love how this medieval side meets the science fiction side, but also throws this like fantasy, like with Pegasus and fucking horses that run so fast, fire appears behind them. Yeah, the Glade.
Crawl. There's a 2011 horror flick called Crawl. Crawl.
Oh, no,
yeah, Crawl's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I don't know. Like, obviously, it didn't do well. Looking up the like box office results, but you know, it's obviously a play off the Star Wars movies and stuff like that. But I just love how they blend all these different, fantasy, like sci-fi, like this Viking medieval stuff, all together in this movie, and it's all flushed together so well that it doesn't feel off. You know, it doesn't feel like, oh, there's this science. You know, it just all meshes together perfectly, and it's handled really, really well. And you know, a lot of these movies that you revisit, films that you saw when you were younger, and you revisit, you're like, oh, it's not as good. I can see the flaws now, but like, I mean, there are flaws in Crawl. Don't get me wrong, and there are some really goofy moments. But all in all, man, it's really like heartfelt. Like even the guys that just have bit parts, you kind of feel for. You know, you really get attached to this whole like group of guys that is working together to overcome with this king to get his lady back. So watch that. I enjoed that. I watched a lot of festival movies.
Did you watch
too.
it? Did you watch on that Blu-ray?
The Crawl. The Mill Creek Blu-ray. It looks all right. I mean, it's about as great as Mill Creek can look.
No, I mean they just do the HD masters.
Yeah. I watched. I won't spend a lot of time on these because obviously everybody's seen them. But I remember seeing the original when it came out in theaters, but I never watched the sequel. But I watched the Star Trek movies back to back.
Oh shit!
Dude,
all of them?
Like, well, no, the new ones.
The new ones, okay.
Yeah. So I watched, I watched the J.J. Abrams 2009, which I've seen before, but I don't remember anything about. But man, it's like really, really fun, really, really great. The sequel I had a lot of fun with. I thought it was a little bit, felt a little bit rushed.
Yeah, it got a little derivative, but it got unfairly shat upon for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it deserves anything like that. I think it's still a really fun movie. I think the pacing gets a little off.
Yeah.
During the film, because I think they're trying to hold back that's Khan for way too long.
Yeah,
and
they shouldn't.
It's not really much a surprise.
They shouldn't have done Khan,
even from a. What were you gonna say?
Well, especially with Benedict Cumberbatch, it was just like. He was great, but I mean, they should have just done a whole new villain. It didn't make any sense for them to do Kroll or do Khan.
It was just one of those things where it was really easy to pick up that it was him from not even a person that has really watched the Star Trek movie ever.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, this was a villain that's going to be known, obviously. But I really enjoyed it. I'm really excited about the third one. I watched the trailer a few times, and I'm really pumped. I like that trailer quite a bit. So. For Star Trek Beyond.
I just hope they go to fucking space. Because the whole thing that these two new ones is they're on Earth like way too much. More than they should be. Especially in Star Trek Into Darkness. But each movie pretty much, goes to Earth at some point. But my favorite ones are when they're out in deep space. But that's just me.
No, I'm cool because I like them riding the bikes and shit like that. And
I'm totally fine with that. I even like people shit on some of the Star Trek movies. I even like parts of Star Trek Nemesis. And that one
I don't know what
I
that
guess
is.
people think that's the worst one ever, but it's not the greatest one. But I mean, there's still things to like in that. That's
well,
what
I'm
the
excited
next
about
generation, people.
I think the cast is really good, and
Yeah.
like I said, I'm in love with that Star Trek Beyond trailer. I watch it like almost every day now.
I'm not a fan of it.
Why?
It's the Beastie Boys stuff is overplayed.
Oh, why? I mean, it's a reference to the movies.
Yeah, but that is just kind of dumb to me.
Oh,
But
well, because
I'm a crazy Star Trek geek, though, and so I'm like,
No, I understand,
Beastie
but
Boys is a new thing, but
Yeah, I know,
get it
but
in the context of the new ones.
Yeah, I mean, when Kirk gets in the car, Sabotage plays when he's making out with those two girls, and you know, in the second one,
he's a Beastie Boys fan.
Hey man, I like it. I think
funny.
It's fun. I watched Pray for Death, which you already mentioned, but
Yes.
I rewatched it. That's a weird soap opera family ninja movie, right?
I know, yeah.
God, and the kids are really weird too.
Yep.
They're like, "Daddy, are you a ninja?" But yeah, it's a really bizarre movie.
I still need to watch the next one.
Rage of Honor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't dug into that yet, but I will. Next up, I watched a RLJ movie called The Hoarder. I was kind of on the fence about this one. I dug most of it. It is about a woman that tries to find out that her husband is cheating on her. So she knows that he has this storage unit clear across town for some reason. So she goes with her best friend, who's kind of a hellion, to break into the storage unit to see if she can find any evidence of him cheating on her. And she's also looking for like this diary type thing. So once they actually get into the storage unit, it's like, a few floors down. It's like in this weird area. And as soon as they get down there, her friend is attacked by this person and dragged off in the darkness, and she runs off, and then, the gates are closed on the storage unit facility, and then all these other people are down there, and they're being attacked by this thing that had got out of the storage unit. And the reveal of what's going on is kind of cheesy, but all in all, it's kind of a fun little suspenseful movie. It's pretty gory. It does, some really cool effects and everything like that. It's a really good rainy day Tuesday afternoon movie. It's one of those, like something you'd watch like on TNT or something.
That one's got to head to Netflix soon if it's not.
Yeah, when it's on Netflix, like it's a fun little movie to put on and just watch and just turn off your brain. I also watched. I can't believe this movie exists. I watched Dudes and Dragons. Yeah, this movie has Luke Perry in it.
Oh God!
It's written, directed, and stars some dude who is all those roles. It's a parody of
God.
Dungeons and Dragons and 300 and Star Wars.
Oh, of course.
And it's very much like those two nitwits that do all those parody movies. Like
no one knows how to do parodies anymore.
Well, it's like they're doing parodies of movies that are like 20 years old. Like, I mean, they do the slow-mo Matrix stuff. They do, like I said, Star Wars that has been parodied to death. They do 300. Like, who the fuck cares about 300 anymore? Like Lord of the Rings stuff. And it's just like Friedman and Seltzy or Seltzberg or whatever the fuck their names are. I mean, they've done these movies their whole entire existence. Like, they have had, 10 movies, so it feels like something they would do, but it's not. And it's not funny. And it's kind of hard to know that it's a comedy right off the bat. And you just think it's, an awful, direct-to-video, action adventure movie, but it's supposed to be a parody, but it's not funny at all, and it's not very good. So that's it. That's all I got.
He did. There's a movie called Vamp You in 2011 that he did that I remember. Someone went and saw it.
Yeah, I will not be watching that. I give Dudes and Dragons a half star because you can't give it 0.
Perfect. All right, I don't have much at all, really, but
let's hear it, Sean.
The two things I want to talk about are I watched on the plane on the way back from Hawaii. So on the way to Hawaii, I watched The Force Awakens, which is great, even on a small little screen. Second time.
Out now.
Out now on Blu-ray. I need to crack open the Blu-ray and watch it. But the first thing I watched was with my wife. We watched In the Heart of the Sea, the Ron Howard movie starring Thor.
I'm gonna go to sleep. And
based on inspired the Moby Dick book, apparently. The first half hour is pretty fantastic. If you like, that time period and all that, and whaling and all that kind of stuff, pretty good. And then it starts to suck. So I would recommend renting that if you want, but it gets boring.
You sound like Leonard Maltin giving his review on Batman versus Superman.
The next one I watched, my review on Letterboxd was just my little shrug guy. But a little shrug guy that I tweet sometimes.
Yeah, I know. You love that.
It's great. But I watched 2015's Victor Frankenstein.
How is that? Shrug?
Starring James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe. It's interesting because, again, the first half hour is pretty damn good. It's not taking itself too seriously. Daniel Radcliffe plays Igor, the Hunchback. And he's like a carnival performer that gets noticed by James McAvoy. That's somehow smart. He's read. He knows the human body. He knows anatomy because he all he does in his cage is just somehow he gets medical books and reads them. So they cross paths.
Sounds legit.
And James McAvoy plays Victor Frankenstein, who's just this quack doctor guy and who's a little bit insane. And at first, it's really fun because he is trying to reanimate things, and Igor's helping him out. And there's a sequence where they reanimate kind of this creature that he's put together, like pre-Frankenstein. It's like made out of monkey parts and all these other animals. And all that stuff is so macabre and crazy and fun that I was really kind of digging it for the first half hour. Once it gets past that, it gets into Daniel Radcliffe mopey time because Igor loves this girl, of course, and it just gets mopey for a while, and internal conflict between Igor and Frankenstein, and just drama, where it's like if they would have kept, like, it's camp is a very delicate thing to do in a film, but if they would have kept up the camp of the first half hour and made just kind of a fun gothic, take on Frankenstein from Igor's perspective, which is what it seems like they were doing or wanted to do, it would have been great, but it just gets boring. And then I found out that who's the writer of this?
Max Landis.
Max Landis was the writer.
See, dude,
and that explained it all. Like, he took a great premise and just shit on it.
Dude, I'm a Max Landis fan. I support the dude 100%, even though he's, like, hated among Hollywood.
He has good ideas. I don't know if he knows how to really execute them. I mean, and he's had a few hits, right?
Dude, fucking Chronicle is great. Fucking Me, Him, and Her, I got to see a screening of, and I love that shit. I fucking loved American Ultra. Dude, I've seen American Ultra like 10 times this year.
No, I like American Ultra too. I mean, he's one of those guys where he has some hits and he has some major turds.
Well, he also has that movie. No, I'm sorry. Is it the Me, Him, and Her with Sam Rockwell?
I don't know.
Ah, shit. Which one is it? No, it's the Sam Rockwell movie that she. It's like Anna Kendrick and Sam Rockwell.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not
Me, Him, and Her. Yeah, Me, Him, Her.
That's not me. That's not it, though. Okay.
Yeah?
Well, anyways.
Oh, there's Mr.
yeah,
Right.
That's it.
Okay.
That's the one I saw. I didn't see Me, Him, and Her. Because that's the one like he directed,
Yeah,
right?
he hasn't done too much. Maybe I don't know, man. Maybe it's just I'm just all the internet hate has somehow seeped into my brain.
I think it has, because what he does is he just speaks his mind.
Oh, that's right. I saw some stupid YouTube thing with him talking, and I wanted to punch him in the face.
I don't think he's, because the thing is that his movies are going to always get a bad rap because he basically said you don't need critics.
Oh, okay.
Which, of course, all the critics are in an uproar. You know what, dude? That's fine. That's his opinion. Because honestly, people watch movies for themselves. That's the whole point. I'm not against critics, so that's obviously what we're doing on the show.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're not full of shit, but dude, fucking watch a movie for yourself. Don't listen to us because, you're like, oh, ScreamCast said it sucks. No, fuck that. Watch the movie for yourself and then tell us that you thought it sucked too.
Well, you know what, man? I mean, looking at his filmography here, I think Victor Frankenstein is one of his only misses, really.
I don't know, dude.
I haven't seen his short stuff. I haven't seen his TV stuff.
I want to give it a shot, and, he's writing the fucking Power Rangers movie.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched Power Rangers in years, but I got a little excited when I knew he was writing it.
Well, Victor Frankenstein's a great idea, and
right. I'm excited.
I would never tell anyone not to watch it because there is some really good stuff in it. I think it gets a little too melodramatic for the type of movie that I was kind of hoping for and that it kind of promised in the first half hour. But it does wrap up in the end, and it does get fun again, and I just think I think it had some potential. I think that was missed, but they were tapping into it in that first part of the film, and there is some really inspired moments in it. So I'm not going to totally say it sucks. I was baffled by kind of the turn of the quality of it, where it went from really fun to kind of just kind of mediocre land for a while, and then. Last half hour.
I don't know why I haven't watched it yet. I constantly think about it.
I would say check it out if you're interested. You may like it, and I wouldn't. This isn't a movie that I would tell anyone to skip out on. For me, it didn't hit fully, but James McAvoy's great as Dr. Frankenstein. He plays it with this manic craziness that I really, really love, and he's totally hamming it up. And having fun. And Daniel Radcliffe, I like him. I like that he tries different things since Harry Potter. He could have been pigeonholed, into this thing, and he really has made some smart choices. And I like him as an actor. So it's not as strong as I want it to be, but I would never say skip it. But for me, it didn't hit that hard on the potential. So that's all I got, man, other than the movies that we're going to be talking about today. That's all I watched.
Let's jump into it.
All right, let's do this. But first, before we jump into that, quick little news segment with Josh Obershaw. All right, well, Josh Obershaw joins us with the news. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. It's good to be back. It's been a little while.
Yes, yep. Yeah, we had a slow news week last week because I wasn't around to post all the things you were posting, so I apologize. But we had a huge, gigantic news day on Friday where all those got posted. So, and since I've posted all those, I got more stuff posting today. In fact, let's run down all the major stuff.
Yeah, and there's a lot of it. So how I want to do this is I want to go through. I decided to divide this up by labels. That way it's easier for me to keep track.
Okay.
But there is something that came at the last minute. Exciting news that I want to start off with first, and that is Universal are finally releasing all of the sequels to Jaws on Blu-ray.
Yes, I've been waiting for this day.
I know. I've been waiting for this day ever since Jaws finally came out on Blu-ray in 2012, so I'm just anxiously awaiting the other ones, especially number 3. But first, let's get to the features that are going to be on Jaws 2. There's going to be deleted scenes. There's going to be a making-of featurette. There's also a featurette called Jaws 2, a portrait by actor Keith Gordon. Interesting. John Williams, the music of Jaws 2. The French joke, which I'm not really familiar with off the top of my head. I haven't watched Jaws 2 in a while, so I don't know what that is. And in addition to that, there are also storyboards, and there's going to be a trailer. The thing that I'm most excited about, like I said previously, is Jaws 3, because Jaws 3 will be presented in 3D.
Wow.
So for those of us who've missed out on Jaws 3 in the theaters, you finally get to watch this movie in 3D, just how it came out in theaters. And the only other bonus feature on top of that is a trailer. And sadly, the only bonus feature on Jaws the Revenge is a trailer. That's kind of disappointing because this is something that I mentioned in the post. There are 2 different versions of the climax for Jaws 4. So it's kind of disappointing that because it's not the most popular Jaws sequel, that it's kind of a bare bones release. So that's kind of disappointing, but still.
I think I had like a combo pack or DVD for a while, or I think I grabbed them all on DVD for a while.
Yeah, I had all of them, but Jaws the Revenge. But yeah, I'm definitely making the upgrade. So you can find these individually sold, and they're coming out on June 14th.
Sweet. Pre-order is done.
Yeah, I need to get on that. So moving right along, from Synapse, this is going to be a treat for all the Creepshow fans because the U.S. DVD and Blu-ray for Creepshow has been bare bones. Kind of sucks, but the good news is Synapse is going to be releasing the documentary film Just Desserts, The Making of Creepshow, as its own Blu-ray release. There's no release date set yet, but it's going to happen. The doc itself has interviews with Romero, Tom Savini, Richard Rubenstein, and actors Adrian Barbeau, Atkins, and Harris, but there's extras going to be planned. There's going to be 2 commentaries, one with Michael Felcher, who's a producer who's with Red Shirt Pictures.
Sweet.
And there's going to be a second commentary with John Apples, Tom Savini's assistant Daryl Ferrucci, and art director Bruce Allen Miller. There's going to be an interview with director of photography Michael Gornick. There's going to be extended outtakes. And this is going to be a neat one. Scream Greats Volume 1. This is a Tom Savini documentary that was produced by Fangoria Magazine, and it was released by Paramount on VHS and Laserdisc all the way back in 1986. So,
wow,
nice bonus right there. Moving on to 88 Films, they announced a few movies, but 2 I want to mention. Enigma, which is by Lucio Fulci. It's one of his later pictures. It came out in 1987. And this is coming out sometime in the third quarter of 2016. And this one was previously issued on DVD by Image Entertainment all the way back in 2001. So if you can't wait to get your hands on a Blu-ray player, on this Blu-ray, and you have, a region-free Blu-ray player, definitely pick this one up. And also, they're going to be releasing Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bolorama.
Yes.
This is the 1980. Oh, you're excited for this one.
These types of films are fun.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either, but
okay. Well, this was put out on DVD by Wizard Entertainment in 2013, so this is probably going to be another one you want to grab hold of if you've got the means to do it. This is going to be a second quarter release, tentatively, for 2016. Next up, Kino. For fans of the 1989 movie Teen Witch, starring Robin Lively, that movie is going to be coming out sometime in 2016. It's in conjunction with Scorpion Releasing. We mentioned they were going to be getting together for the people that time forgot. Mm-hmm. So they're teaming back up again for this one. And also under their Redemption label, they're going to be releasing Crimson, The Color of Terror. This is starring Paul Naschy. I believe that's how you pronounce his name.
Sure.
I'm not too familiar with Paul Naschy. I've only seen one movie he was in. It was called Curse of the Devil. I just blind bought the old Anchor Bay DVD. There's a couple of features on this. It's newly mastered in HD from the original 35 millimeter film elements. There's a standard 89-minute version, and there's the more complete, more sexually explicit, 98-minute version. And there's also a commentary by historian Richard Harlan Smith. And last but definitely not least from Kino, they're going to be putting out the 1981 movie The Pit.
Yeah, a lot of people.
This is one I am definitely one of them. I actually saw this movie recently, and wow, it's a weird one for sure. It's going to be a brand new 2016 HD master. There's no release date for this yet, but we're definitely going to keep you posted on that one. And next up, from Scream Factory, good old Scream Factory. For those of you who are a little disappointed by the fact that Hellhole was canceled, guess what? It's back on again. Hellhole was previously announced back in January of 2014, but they couldn't get all the film elements they needed together. Apparently what they had was an edited film print, so they had to cancel that in August of 2014, but apparently they found what they needed, and it's back on the schedule. It's coming out July 26th. The extras are still in progress, so we'll keep you updated on that.
Cool.
And next up is The Boy Who Cried Werewolf. No relation whatsoever to the Nickelodeon movie from 2010. This is actually a movie that came out in 1973. This was the third and final pairing of actor Kerwin Matthews and filmmaker Nathan Duran. Their most famous collaboration, of course, was Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. This has never been available on home video before. So this is another one of those movies that Scream Factory just unearthed, and they're releasing it to a whole new audience. So the extras are still in progress for this one as well. This is also coming out on July 26th.
Awesome.
And speaking of werewolves, Bad Moon. Bad Moon is coming out on Blu-ray, and that's coming out on July 19th. The extras are also in progress for this one. And yeah, this is definitely something. This has been a title that's been requested quite often. Every time I go through the comments for anything that Scream Factory posts, I see, you guys putting out Bad Moon? Where's Bad Moon? Bad Moon? So
I think I have that.
Your
on
prayers
DVD.
have been answered.
I have that on the Warner Brothers DVD. How they had those cardboard, with the plastic spine.
Oh yeah, someone I knew actually introduced me to this movie, and she actually found it on eBay and she had to pay like $30 for it because it was out of print. Yeah, so I think a lot of people are going to be happy with this.
Awesome.
And finally, from Scream Factory, this is a big one. Announced all the way back at Comic-Con last year, Return of the Living Dead, the 2-disc collector's edition, is finally coming out, and it's coming out on July 19th. Oh boy, this one is, you might as well call this an ultimate edition because this thing is packed with tons of extras. Now, if you're like me and you bought the MGM Blu-ray and you're wondering if you should double dip on this one, I think you should. Now, all of the features from the MGM Blu-ray are going to be ported over to this one, but here's a list of some of the new extras that are going to be on this. There's going to be a commentary with Gary Smart, the co-author of The Complete History of the Return of the Living Dead, and Chris Griffins. There's an expanded version of the effects of Living Dead with production designer William Stout, FX makeup artist William Munns, Tony Gardner, Kenny Myers, and Craig Canton Largnet, visual effects artist Brett Mixton, and Gene Warren Jr., and actor Brian Peck. Next up, Party Time, the music of Return of the Living Dead. This one I'm definitely excited about because you've got interviews with music consultants Bud Carr and Stephen Pross, in addition to members of 45 Grave, The Flesh Eaters, SSQ, Q, TSOL, Tall Boys, and of course, Roky Erickson. That is also an expanded version as well. We've got another episode of Horror's Hallowed Grounds with Sean Clark. This is interesting. A Return of the Living Dead work print with 20 minutes of additional footage. And you're also going to get the documentary film More Brains, A Return to the Living Dead. And there's also a conversation with Dan O'Bannon, which is his final interview. The last thing I want to mention with this release is an issue regarding the soundtrack. A lot of people were really, really concerned about, is this going to be the soundtrack that people heard in theaters? Is it original? All of that stuff. For this, they went back to the original audio tracks, and it's pretty much going to be there. The only exception is there's one song they could not get cleared for this release, and that song, Deadbeat Dance by The Damned.
So it's weird that the song from The Damned got they couldn't get clearance for. I wonder how that happens. I wonder if it's out of control of the band or something like that. Do you have any idea how music clearance goes?
Well, The Damned is actually one of my favorite punk bands of all time, and that's something I'll get into later, actually. But anyways, this is a group that's jumped from label to label to label pretty much ever since their inception. I mean, they started out on Stiff Records. They were on Chiswick, then Bronze. There was a couple of years where they were on Universal Records for a little bit, on MCA Records, actually. And so I think it has to do with whatever label they were on at the time that Deadbeat Dance came out. I'm assuming that it was like this weird in-between period in the mid-1980s when they had left Bronze and they were transitioning into the MCA year. So, yeah, it's definitely with whatever label they were on at the time.
Weird. Yeah, I have the actual vinyl soundtrack, and I believe it's on there. So, but it's weird. Music clearances are always weird. That's why the movie Trick or Treat has been held up as far as a domestic release, is because of music clearances. So,
right.
Really weird.
I forgot about that. But I'm still hoping for that one.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for your time here, and we'll talk to you again next week.
It's glad to be back, and glad to have you back as well.
All right, so today we are talking about Vinegar Syndrome's March package. We're talking about their package, people. Which reminds me, I need to find a soundbite talking about someone's package for this intro. Note to self, going to be creating an intro for this. So if anybody has any sound bites from a movie, from a porno, talking about someone's package, drop me a line.
I can do an excerpt. I'll make up something.
You got something?
I don't know. I can make something up on a whim.
No. I don't want your voice.
Ding dong. Hello, Mr. UPS man. I have a package for you. I don't see a box. It's in my pants.
Zip. Right? Is that how it goes?
Is that how your pornos go? That's kind of how that Ron Jeremy scene goes in Blue Ice.
All right, well, we're going to be talking about Pigs, Blue Ice, SexWorld, and INFRASEXUM.
So we have two pornos.
Yes.
We have a sexy movie, sexy time, but not really sexy, from this basically 69, so 70s. And then the notorious goofy horror film, Hicksploitation, Weird Fucking Pigs.
Yeah. Let's start off with Pigs.
Really?
We'll start off with the horror first, then we'll close out with some porn.
All right. So Pigs has been a long time coming. This thing's been bootlegged, 100 times. But yeah, I was really happy to see them do it. I mean, of course, I think Troma is the ones that had Pigs last, and of course they threw everything on VHS to DVD to Blu-ray. 480p Blu-ray, son. So anyways, it was nice to see them do this film. I saw this a while ago on I'm really love exploitation, and I love how dirty and gritty those films are. Stuff like, and the only one I really don't like is I Spit on Your Grave, because I think that's more exploitation than anything. But we talked about Gator Bait on the one show, but stuff like Psycho from Texas, Poor Pretty Eddie, those movies are just so raw and in your face. And while watching them, you're like, you feel gross, and they make you feel uncomfortable. And that's the point. Pigs somewhat does that. The thing that's uncomfortable about pigs is the constant high-pitched squealing from the pigs. But I think it's on purpose to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because this girl, Lynn, whatever her name is,
Lynn Hart, played by the director's daughter, Toni Lawrence.
Oh, yeah, it's true, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Mark Lawrence is the director. I didn't know that. I watched actually the interview with her.
Do you even watch Special Features, bro? Huh?
Did they mention that in the featurette with her?
I believe it was in the featurette with her.
Oh, wow.
That's what I watched.
I totally missed that. So anyways, getting into her head, because she obviously has psychological problems, hearing the pig squeal, I think, is also a trigger for the audience, which I think is a great thing. Like those hype they make, because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Like I had to turn down my television because it was so goddamn loud sometimes. But it's really awesome that Vinegar Syndrome takes the time with anything of theirs, just because they're giving films the time of day that no one else really will, because they're not sought after too much. I think Pigs was a bigger title for them, because I think it's a highly requested one. Is this the first time for you for this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. What was really cool about this? At the beginning of the film,
yeah, they had that. Go ahead.
Well, they had like this disclaimer, right? Because this was scanned and restored from in 2K from a 35 millimeter interpositive, but they had to restore it to get it, because it's been cut and botched through so many releases that they wanted the uncut version. Well, the interpositive that they had was a cut version, but they were able to find a 35 millimeter theatrical print and splice in the scenes that they needed to splice in. So there was a little thing in the beginning of the film.
A little forewarning, but dude, I didn't really notice.
I didn't know, man. It wasn't distracting.
It's like extra gore scenes or something, but I honestly didn't notice the difference.
I would notice like the quality would change a few times here and there, but it was not distracting.
I guess some things got a little darker.
Yeah, but I mean,
but that's about it.
The fact that they do that, I think Arrow does that too. I'm not sure about Scream Factory, especially with that Dog Soldiers release. There's nothing on. Is there something on that? I think they released it after the fact, right? There's no warning about it. Huh?
No, there's no warning.
Yeah, there's nothing. So the fact that they care enough to even do that is great, and I like it when a company does that. I know that when Criterion releases stuff, I don't know if they put it in the film, but they will have notes about the transfer in the booklet. And if when a company cares that much to do that, that really, as a viewer, like means a lot. I may not notice it. I may notice it, but the fact that that's there, that they care that at least a couple people will notice, is great. So, but yeah, man, this movie was crazy. I really didn't know what to expect at all. I was expecting, I guess, something a little more grungy and dirty, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but with like pigs, what I mean? But that wasn't what we got. What we got was
it's weird that it's called like I know they went with the title Pigs, but there's different title. There's a bunch of different titles.
One of the other titles was like the 13th Pig or something like that.
Yeah, but it's like none of it really fits because the pigs aren't that big a part of the movie.
They're a part of it, but it's mainly Lynn Hart's story, played by Toni Lawrence. It's her. She's kind of this drifter who lands at this. Is it a bed and breakfast or just like a cafe or something like that? But on this, this guy has these pigs.
Yeah, no, he's a circus performer.
Yeah,
and he has a
cafe.
A cafe.
Yeah. So
with 12 pigs.
With 12 pigs. He takes her in, lets her stay there, and she, in turn, she works at the cafe. And it's kind of her story about her, kind of what she has gone through or what she's dealing with. She has some psychological issues that she keeps having bad dreams and things like that, and her dealing with kind of the people in the area. So it's less about the pigs in a sense and more about her. And I thought she did a great job. I'm surprised that she didn't do too much after this, because she's super cute. I thought she did pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that makes this movie, like I said earlier about how it makes you feel uncomfortable, is that, like, the camera shots in the movie are all over the place, like over the bodies, underneath, but like always up close. Mm-hmm. And like, when she kind of goes crazy in the stabby stab mode sometimes, like, you feel like you're the one getting stabbed because, just how it's shot. And that's one thing I really like about the movie is, like, even, like, the shots of, like, the pigs and stuff were like, in their face.
Yeah.
And it gives you this huge, like, just overwhelming, like, just uncomfortable feeling sometimes when you're watching it. And I think it goes along with just how the movie's pieced together. I don't consider pigs great, but I think that it's really well made in the aspect of, like, we kind of want you to feel, claustrophobic. We want you to feel sweaty. We want you to get a little nervous.
Yeah, which I don't think a lot of movies do these days.
Yeah, we just want to make you feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the movie achieves it greatly. The movie's, like I said, I don't really think Pigs is a great movie, but I think it's really well made, and I fucking love the music. Dude, fucking Charles Bernstein has done some wonderful fucking scores and songs. I mean, he fucking scored White Lightning. He scored Evil Town.
He did Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, he's done some big fucking movies, and the music is so weird when it starts playing, but it's really catchy. And it gives you kind of this, like, backwoods feel,
Mm-hmm.
Like fucking Deliverance and shit. Deliverance is fucking terrifying. Jesus.
Yeah, Deliverance, scarier movie than Pigs.
Yeah, well, Deliverance again is, considered, a classic in action movie, but fucking Deliverance is pure exploitation.
Deliverance is a fucked up movie.
If you took the stars out of that movie and just put no names, you would have a more grittier movie.
Yeah.
I think with the, Ronnie Cox and Burt Reynolds, I mean, they're great. I would not want to take them out of the movie whatsoever. But being that they had A-listers in it, or, even A-listers after the movie,
mm-hmm.
That gives the movie a different feel. It feels more clean,
Yeah.
Because when you have people in it like Pigs, that the people didn't really go on to do anything, it feels more real. You ever have that with you? Like,
oh, totally, man. Like when
because it's like they're not actors.
Yeah.
It feels like it could be like real people, and I don't know. I always enjoyed that. So I think if you took Deliverance and you rearranged those, actors and put like a bunch of just no names that maybe did Deliverance and that's it, that would be a lot scarier. Yeah. But anyways,
the same thing with like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You look at all these kind of movies.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre feels super real.
Yeah,
that's the most terrifying thing about it, because no one feels like they're acting.
Yeah, this one, I don't. I guess I didn't get that feel that no one was acting. But it did have that sense of, I guess, discovery, because you're not used to any of these actors at all. You haven't seen them around in anything. I'm trying to think. Like, this was definitely an independent film. Like, this was something that Mark Lawrence decided he wanted to do.
Well, I mean, you also have fucking child, like, you have pedophilia as kind of an undertone.
Yeah.
And you have this, fucking rape and stuff. So, I mean, it's a really dark movie. It kind of goes through that. But, like, I watched, man, fucking weird as shit, but I watched the alternate opening to the movie, and it's called Daddy's Little Girl.
Oh, jeez.
Dude, no. Like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, wow, this is super uncomfortable. I really hope no one walks in the living room when I'm watching this. I mean, it's not, like, graphic or anything.
Right, but
like,
it's part of her backstory, right?
Yeah, she's playing, like, as a little girl, and, like, the dad's, like, playing with her and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when she gets older, he starts groping her.
Yeah.
And, like, he's, like, rubbing her ass and grabbing it and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Because even through the film, like, when you start learning about her past, like, that's already uncomfortable. I'm surprised that they tried opening the film with that.
Yeah, and it also has, they also have an alternate ending sequence, which wasn't that shocking, but I thought the opening was, because I thought the movie was shocking enough.
Yeah.
Because when you watch a movie like this, you have to think, all right, we're so desensitized now because we have, really brutal movies, really, controversial movies. But like 1970, you're thinking 1973. I'm watching this in 1973 in my house. I feel like I might be watching something I shouldn't be.
Yeah, I feel like this. I don't know. I feel like the 70s were kind of the last, and into the 80s were the last kind of. The last gasp for writers and directors to really get away with a lot of stuff. Because once you start a movie in the late 80s and into the 90s and all the political correctness and stuff like that.
No, they definitely had some, like, there was a long span of time, and I agree, probably, like, into the mid-80s. Not even, I would even say early 80s it stopped, but you did have this long run from, like, 1960-some, late 60s to about really early 80s of these really hardcore exploitation movies. Mm-hmm. And that was really fucking cool, and it's just they just stopped because I think people woke up and they're like, oh man, we want to see teen comedies. We want to see people like get together and have a family. We don't want to see, backwoods hicks rape each other and kill one another. There
was, from things that I've read and documentaries and stuff, I feel like Vietnam kind of caused a huge kind of cynicism with the country, and then all of a sudden, as the 80s got in, and then Reagan and all that kind of stuff, and there's different threats and things like that. But I feel like the kind of bitterness of Vietnam and everything had kind of died down a little bit, so you didn't have movies as cynical. I mean, think about that movie with the movie, oh gosh, what is it?
Pompeii.
With William Shatner and the spiders.
Oh, Kingdom of Spiders?
Kingdom of the Spiders. Like, even that.
Kingdom of the Spiders, that's right.
As goofy a movie as it is, the ending is fucking cynical and just dark.
The fucking ending is crazy, man.
You get a lot of stuff back in the 70s like that.
The ending is the most memorable part of that movie.
That's great. It's so just like everything's fucked. Like, so many movies in the 70s especially ended like that. Even I think The Bees, right? Didn't The Bees end?
Yeah, The Bees end.
Sense? Like, humanity's fucked. You're all fucked.
It's like the bees blast through like the fucking windows and shit, and then it just ends. It's like, hey, y'all dead.
Spoiler alert. So you don't get that much now. I think you got more of those back in the 70s. So it's interesting to see kind of the dynamics, and that's why I think that I like. And I haven't dug into a whole lot of 70s films. I have, but I think that's why I'm more drawn to them, is because that you kind of feel
they have like a DIY type attitude. They're like, oh, we're going to make a movie that we want to make. We fuck Hollywood. We're going to make something ultra brutal, and maybe no one might see it, but hopefully they weren't thinking it's going to be a cult classic in the 70s because that didn't exist.
You had all the grindhouse theaters and stuff too. I think you had
but they were playing them, but we had no idea that there's going to be a huge resurgence of these, and filmmakers of today are going to watch these movies and be completely inspired by them.
Yeah.
That's the accomplishment.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a fantastic, just whole thing of like what movies can do to people and inspire them or make them feel, scared, happy. And I think it's fucking huge. I don't think we think about that too much.
Yeah.
But a movie can make you cry. It can make you inspired to do something. It can give you an idea. you have a career because you fucking, love Brian De Palma, you love John Carpenter, so you want to make movies like they do, and then you become, an A-lister. I think it's incredible. That's why movies are so special. So, not from pigs, though. I mean, really?
Well,
I want to know.
Pretty great. I mean, if you're
I agree.
exploitation, if you've been wanting to see this film, this is definitely the format you want to see it on. It looks fantastic.
Oh yeah, they had the 2K from the they did two different sources, right? So they had the theatrical, and then they had like the original. Yeah,
the 35 millimeter interpositive.
So, but yeah, I mean, they also did a lot of fucking special features on this.
Some great interviews.
They had the alternate opening and ending, and I don't know. It's a really really cool package for a movie of this nature.
Who did the artwork on the front? Are these both original artwork? I see like on the back it says reversible cover artwork by Chris Garofalo, but I don't see
Garofalo. Because he did the bees.
Garofalo, sorry.
He did the bees.
He did the yeah, Garofalo. He did the bees, so I'm thinking maybe did he do both of these?
I don't know, but I really do like the one that it came with. I don't like the flip.
Yeah, I like the one that's
because the original fucking cover of this is like a real fucking pig on the front.
Yeah, it's not.
It's kind of lame. So I do like this one quite a bit.
Maybe he did them both. It's weird that they would say reversible cover art by Chris Garofalo. So who did the front? I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know. I really do like the kind of sinister pig with like the woman, like the hand and the woman screaming, and then kind of like the daddy's little girl type thing in the front.
It's kind of a weird mixture of feelings we had going on.
So creepy, but it works. It fits the movie. The front cover basically tells you what you're in for.
Yeah, totally.
So,
all right, let's jump into INFRASEXUM. Now, this is one that I unfortunately didn't get to, but I know you did.
Ooh.
I want to watch this because I'm kind of, with all this stuff I've been watching from Vinegar Syndrome.
Well, we need to, we said there's nothing special with this episode 100, but there is. Sean watched porno.
more than just one. Because I watched Corruption. That was the first one that I watched. I mean, I'm not really into it. We'll get into it. We'll get into my porn story here in a bit. But let's talk about INFRASEXUM here. This is a 1969 film directed by Carlos Tobalina.
He did. This is actually his first movie, and fucking Vinegar Syndrome is. I guess they're really good friends with him because they are releasing a lot of his movies. They've released Jungle Blue, which is probably the weirdest Vinegar Syndrome title. Marilyn and the Senator, you can watch that. And Bill Marigold gets a blowjob while eating a full chicken. They did Champagne Orgy, Sensual Fire, I think, Sexual Heights, Flesh and Bullets. So, yeah, they've done a lot of Carlos Tobalina films. So this is his first feature. And it's not a porno, so that's the first thing we can get out of the way. It's just a sexploitation movie where a older man is having trouble getting an erection. He's got some erectile dysfunction going on, and he is trying to see if he can get a boner again, in a way. I mean, it sounds slapsticky, but it's not. So he escapes.
That's a real issue.
He goes on the run, right? He goes to Las Vegas and he's cruising the town. It's really funny because like the first 15 minutes of the movie is just him in an office talking on the phone. And it's like, this movie's about this dude. Like, he's smoking a cigarette and he's like having he's like, it's a voiceover by him. I was on the town looking around in Las Vegas. I had $5,000 in my pocket. I went and spent some money in the slot machine, came out with $25,000. And it's just like one of those things where he just keeps talking and talking. And finally he gets to, he meets a friend and he wants to put him up for, while he's there and get in, wants to find some sexy girls to see if maybe he can get his drunk working again. And all going through this, these criminals find out that he had, because he goes to Las Vegas and like he's walking around. He's walking around with $250,000 in my pocket, not knowing what to do. And so he keeps going around. He meets these, the gangsters find out that he has the money. So it becomes like, gets into this like weird kidnap syndicate. No, not really a syndicate, but just like this whole kidnap thing. And it's this really odd scene of murder where he's like, I'm going to take your girl to the back room. And they just fucking start stabbing her. Like he comes out and he's like playing with like her guts and shit. And it's like, wow, this is fucking weird. That's unexpected in the movie. Like he's like playing like with her guts and shit. And it's just like, it's really bizarre. But it's definitely one of those things where it's like, man, I can't really believe this movie exists. But yeah, it's all in all a good. It's a good time. It really wants to be, and it's actually funny because we also have Blue Ice. It tries to be kind of like this film noir of this old guy, but it just never achieves that. And Blue Ice does the exact same thing. But it's trying to more or less be, walking the streets, so picture it like black and white, walking the streets with his hat, like walking around, just, I went down to the corner and she wasn't there. So I went to her apartment and I could smell the man that she had upstairs. One of those like film noir movies. Right. But, it's just too cheesy and, too Dawn of the Dead red blood type thing going on. But anyways, it's definitely fun. And also, it's one of those things where it's a DVD, but they did a 2K scan from, the original negative, and dude, it looks fucking good. I'm watching the movie and like I was thinking, it was like I saw the name Carlos Tobalina and I was like, okay, I know who that is. They've released some movies. So watching the movie and then before we do the show, I look on the back and I'm like 1969. Like, what the fuck? Like this movie looks like it's from the 80s. It's so crisp and clear looking. But yeah, this is fucking his first movie from 1969. And I'm like, damn, dude. Like, I know that a lot of people are against like the DVD thing, but man, when they look this good, like it doesn't feel like there's no difference sometimes. Like, but anyways, it looks great. The movie, it's a little bizarre. So, I think people will enjoy it that like weird shit for sure. If you like Vinegar Syndrome titles, like because they release weird movies, and this is 100% up your alley.
Sweet.
So we got next, bruh.
All right. I was trying to see if any of these are on exploitation.tv, and they are not yet. So I'm not sure. We'll have to ask them.
It usually takes about a month.
Okay, we'll have to ask them because I really want to start pushing exploitation.tv more. Ask them what the timeline is from when they release a movie to when it shows up on exploitation.tv. So we'll look into that. So as of now, none of these are on there yet. There are some that still on there. I mean, like, Pretty Peaches is on there. All three of the Pretty Peaches are on there. Mm-hmm. And
right,
is Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls on there?
Yeah, it is. That's
so all the ones that all Brad's favorites, I think, are on Exploitation TV.
Yeah, Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls is always a must. That movie is fucking hilarious and great.
But we are going to talk about next. Let's jump into SexWorld.
SexWorld. Dude. Right. Well, this is a re-release, number one.
This is a re-release. This is the first one. There was the limited edition one, which came with the soundtrack, and I believe it came with some special features. This, I believe, is a bare bones. It just comes with the 2 trailers.
Yeah. The original has, of course, Joey Silvera, who's one of the biggest names in pornography. He's still around today making movies, and then of course Kate Parker, who has been around. I think in SexWorld, and Annette Haven's in it though. John Leslie. So yeah, it's. I mean, if anybody knows pornography, like these fucking dudes are still making movies. like they're still kicking. Really bizarre. Joey Silvera's he's making. I don't know if this is for our listeners because it's weird talking about this when we're a horror podcast mainly, but he makes fucking transsexual movies now.
Huh.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that if you're into that, but it's just a different flip.
So after watching Corruption originally, I was like, I really don't know if this shit is for me. I respect Corruption for what it did, for how it tried to blend things.
So good.
But I felt like, even while the sexy time kind of contributed to the story of Corruption, for me, it's still a little bit much for me to just, I don't know. So for SexWorld, I was kind of thinking.
I like hearing you talk about it. It's fucking funny.
It's probably going to be the same thing. However, what I noticed was I'm watching the beginning, and obviously there's some low budgetness. Like they have the SexWorld logo on the bus. It's obviously like a tarp that they duct taped to the bus. But you're kind of watching these individuals. They board a bus on its way to SexWorld, and the whole idea is you basically go to this resort type place. Married or not or whatever, you can experience your greatest fantasies. So you got couples on there, you got singles on there, and the beginning of the film, as they're on the bus, it's kind of going through each of our kind of main players, and through flashbacks, kind of seeing what their life is at home, which is very interesting, I thought, because all that stuff, intimate or not, I think contributed to the characters and what they were dealing with. So once they get to SexWorld and certain characters start laying out their fantasies and everything, and things start to happen, like for me, it's a fine line when you're, putting sex in a film anyway. Like I know like Game of Thrones kind of throws a lot of sex in there, and it's just there to titillate, and it just like doesn't contribute to the story, but there are some instances where it does. And I think that for me as a viewer, as someone who enjoys entertainment, I want everything on screen to contribute to the story as a whole. And I'm never expecting that through a porn, ever. And however, with SexWorld, I feel like even though, it's not my taste to see everything that's going on, it still in many ways contributes to the character and the thing that they're kind of wanting to experience and kind of get away from in their normal everyday life. And the main thing I'm thinking of is the married couple where the guy wants to watch his wife have sex, but he hasn't been able to have, get it up at all, and he's had those problems, and she hasn't really been fucked for a while, and she's getting a chance to.
Sean, Jesus.
But looking it through the lens of there are some people that do deal with that. So, if you're put in this position, what would you do? Literally. You know what I mean? So for me, SexWorld was super interesting. I feel like it was more compelling than I thought it should be or thought it could ever be. And then there's the other scene with the racist guy and the black girl. And that is the funniest dialogue interaction I think I've heard on film in a long time. It's so real, and she's just she's so confident. It's great, and she knows she's going to win him over. You know what I mean? And it's just a fantastic, before anything happens, it's a wonderful dialogue scene between these two, exposing prejudice and assumptions about race and things like that, and her, I guess, willingness to kind of take this guy head on and like show him that,
like literally
it doesn't matter. Literally, it doesn't matter. So I don't know. I was, even though, I mean, I'll probably never watch it again, but I was surprised, I think, at how compelling it was and how most everything did contribute to some sort of characterization and the character and the story of each of these people's journey, because there's an actual journey that all these characters take, and sex is a huge part of it. But if you look at everyday life, like, that is a huge, I mean, I've been married 11 years going on 12. It's like, I mean, I would rather have sex than watch it. I mean, I think that's my whole thing with pornography. I'm like, well, I don't really need it, Now, when I was younger and didn't have any sort of outlet like that, it's like I was super interested in it and, very curious, but I'm not anymore. So I think maybe that's the dynamic that I'm working with here.
Yeah. So
I'm looking at a movie based on, all right, what's the story? And I mean, Corruption, I fast forwarded a whole lot of sex because I was just like, well, where's the story going to take me? But in SexWorld, I felt like I kind of needed to sit and just watch everything unfold because it was actually contributing to everything. It was weird, man. I was kind of shocked that I liked it as much as I did as a film.
I like it. It. It's also the third in a trilogy for Westworld and Future World.
That's the third one.
No, it's funny because it's Anthony Spinelli's like weird, like, parody type thing from, because Westworld is about, the robot that fucking, tries to kill all the people at the theme park, and then Future World is like, what is Future World? I can't remember Future World.
I've only seen Westworld. I haven't seen Future World.
Yeah, Future World is like, they go to the theme park and they're like, the reporter's like, a reporter's killed or something, and then, because it's like robots and shit. And that's what like SexWorld is, because they come into like what is it, like the robot like lover people.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that the lover people or whatever are possibly robots. Although there is, maybe everyone's not a robot that's getting it on with each other. I mean, it's kind of a fine line. You're not really sure, But there's like so many moments, man, that I was just cracking up. It's like, can you spoil a porno? Like basically the end scene where the one girl, she's obviously super repressed, and she had a weird relationship with her brother, and her brother's there, right? And her brother tries to get her to open the door, but then the other door opens, and in walks this guy.
You should. I know that's a lot of money. It's a limited edition, but you should look into the limited edition because it has actually a softcore version.
That's what I hear, and I mean, this movie's like, the idea is so great,
Very much like I think Dracula Sucks.
Dracula Sucks has a softcore version too. That I think it would be more accessible to someone like me if there was a softcore version, because like I think a lot of themes need to be explored, and if you're an adult and you're either married or been in a relationship, I'm totally fine with adult themes being explored. It's just I don't need to see the grand finale or the deep dives. You know what I mean? I think it's not. I mean, I'm not interested in watching that. So, because there's other movies I've watched, like Gaspar Noé's Love. Like, I think is like super pretentious in a way. Like, I think he has an idea what he wants to do, but I don't think he's exploring everything he wants to explore. But there's other movies that do explore, like gosh, I'm trying to gather all my thoughts together for an article I want to write about all this. Kind of like, sex in movies and combining with this and themes and stuff like that. But I can't think of the names right now. But there's certain NC-17 like the movie Crash, not the stupid one about race and racism and stuff like that. The Cronenberg, David Cronenberg's Crash.
Yeah.
And movies like that explore sexuality don't go all the way, but they definitely aren't for kids, at all, and need to have that separation with the rating. But they explore these types of things like weird kink or desire or things like that. I think these are important themes that everyone
I think that's kind
deals
of what
with.
A lot of these, these films went to. They wanted to throw in kind of those themes. So we had stuff like SexWorld. We had, those movies that touch and go on desire. The Corruption's a perfect example of that as well. That touch those desires. And it's just funny to watch kind of like these movies that had kind of these small messages that wanted to be a movie. Like you have Anthony Spinelli, who was kind of one of the more notorious pornography directors just because of, the films that he made were played in theaters. He basically is the one that founded Desiree Cousteau. He had a bunch of nightclubs in New York and everything like that. He was a very well-known filmmaker. And he put, his movies, he took them to heart. He put a lot of work into a lot of these, but not everyone. Because, he's making movies like SexWorld and like, The Act of Confession, and he had Confessions, and he had that one Desiree Cousteau movie, Easy. And then towards the last of his career, he's making movies. He literally has, I think it's Gang Bang Bitches.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, it's just, I hate how pornography has went to that. It's like, there's no, just look at the titles of these filmmakers that were in the 70s up until, the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
They were just basically saying, hey, what's in this movie? Oh, well, he comes a lot, so let's call it, dropping loads. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? What happened? What happened to stories? And
that's what I'm saying. I think, and I feel like I said this before with Corruption, but I feel like, so many movies get kind of, I guess, whitewashed for mass consumption, and they don't touch on these, these experiences that people have who are in, sexual relationships or long-term relationships, or marriage. There's things that kind of get glossed over and kind of Hollywoodized, but I think, there's a perfect, there's certain filmmakers that used to kind of try to at least, even though, they were definitely going for titillation to a certain extent, but they were, going out of their way to try to touch on some of those themes, and even though it's kind of done tongue in cheek or whatever with SexWorld, it starts with that married couple, but it's there are times, in a relationship or in marriage that you're gonna shit like that's gonna happen. You both aren't gonna be, fulfilled or whatever. And I think so many people see these bullshit, relationships in Hollywood films, and they think, oh, why isn't my love life like that? But I feel like there's so many things that can be explored in an important way that some of these films kind of sort of touch on it, and you don't see it that often. I think that's what caught me off guard with SexWorld in particular. Blue Ice is a different story.
What I want to say is that I think Anthony Spinelli is the asylum director of pornography. This guy had movies called White Men Can Hump.
Yeah. He abandoned trying to say anything important once he got to the 80s for sure.
Cliffbanger. And he had Pulp Friction.
Yeah. But that's kind of where
he could have been working for Asylum now.
Yeah, well, that's where all these films went to, right? They went to more of the comedic, and kind of just
straight sex, dude. They went to, like I always said, we had, in these movies, in the 70s, pornography in the 70s and 80s, We had a setup. We had a story implemented. We had characters. We had production design. We had a story going on for 20 minutes before we actually even had a sex scene. Sometimes we're 30 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, I think
before we actually have a sex
Pretty
scene.
Peaches is like that, isn't it?
Well, no, there's a lot of movies like that.
Well, I'm just saying, I have viewed very limited. So,
but I'm just saying, like, we were like, oh shit, this is a porno. I had no idea.
yeah.
And we had a storyline that was going on, and so we had an hour and a half movie. We had an hour and 10 minutes of story and 20 minutes of sex.
Right.
And the sex scenes aren't very long. It's not like porno today where, hey, how you doing? And she blows him. He goes down on her. He flips her around, does her missionary, does her doggy style.
All that's so unrealistic, by the way.
And then finally just a huge, huge load at the end. These movies, it's like bang, 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 and then money shot.
Yeah.
And, and now, like I said, we had these movies in the 70s, 80s, hour and 10 minutes of, hour and 20 minutes of story, 10 minutes of sex, 20 minutes of sex. But now we have a scenario that we're given as, hey, my plumbing is busted. Here, let me fuck you.
Right.
And then we have, we have a minute or two of a scenario, not even a story. And now it's like a full movie. There's 5 minutes of scenarios and 3 hours of pornography.
I'm saying yeah, like I know. Yeah.
But it's just so weird, like how it's devolved. It didn't evolve into pornography. It's just went down. Like, I don't know. I guess people wanted more and more sex until it just became just sex.
I guess. I mean, I feel like filmmakers like Gaspar Noé are trying to, even director of Antichrist,
like Nymphomaniac.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's good directors, Lars von Trier, good directors trying to tackle these subjects, but I feel like with Gaspar Noé, he was kind of, a little more pretentious. He was with it, you know what I mean? He was like, I'm going to basically make an erotic film, and like even the poster was like a big dick on one of the posters. Yeah,
it's like two girls like looking at
it was almost too much. It was like, okay, we get it, but is there any substance there? And I think he tries, but even with Lars von Trier with Nymphomaniac, I haven't got up to watching it yet, man. I had sitting there up on my shelf, like, and I never know. It's hard with a Lars von Trier movie. It's like, well, do I really want to sit through a Lars von Trier movie right now? But I feel like there are some directors trying to explore this, but the movies don't make any money.
They're trying to make sexploitation again.
Right.
I mean, there's a difference between sexploitation and pornography.
Right.
Which INFRASEXUM is more or less kind of sexploitation.
Yeah.
Not 100%, but I mean, it's along those lines.
Yeah.
Then we have SexWorld and Blue Ice.
I'm exploring this. I got I have some things to watch. I got Felicity from Severin, and then I got the documentary that's sexploitation.
Mm-hmm.
And I got some other things that I want to kind of dive into to explore this and kind of see personally like where I land, like, on these, because there's sexploitation, there's more of the erotic, and then there's the full on, I guess hardcore stuff. But and me, I don't prefer the hardcore stuff just because just we can move on.
You will.
I get it.
You'll see.
Okay, well, let's move on. I mean, but as a film, though, SexWorld really did surprise me, and I'm really wish I would have grabbed that limited edition now, because I think I would like to see some special features on this, because this is kind of a one of a kind. I feel like, especially I haven't seen much, so I don't know how much to judge these on, but
it's definitely different from what mostly is out there. I mean, I'm not like that well versed in the thing. I got into it.
More versed than I am.
Well, yeah, but I got into it because of Vinegar Syndrome, because I started getting, movies from them. I'm like, wait a second, like, what am I watching here?
Yeah.
But I ended up enjoying it because I was like, man, there's certain aspects about it. But I'm very much like you. Like, I do like more of the story pornography rather than, like, I prefer SexWorld way over Blue Ice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but stuff like, you know, a lot of pornography, like in Hot and Sauce Pizza Girls, but dude, the fucking comedy is so fucking funny in that movie.
Yeah.
And it's something completely new. Like, you know, you have that, but then you also have like Prisoners of Paradise, which is kind of a Nazi story, which is funny segue into Blue Ice.
Yeah, Blue Ice, basically a private detective.
Played by Herschel Savage.
He's trying to find some sort of book that I guess the Nazis also want. I don't know, there's Nazis in it. And he's this gumshoe guy with the voiceover, kind of the noir aspect.
Yeah, it's like this neo-noir movie that never achieves, like, the noir aspect.
Yeah, it could have been so good. The setup is so great. You know, because if you read the synopsis, you're like, this sounds amazing. But it never really quite hits that. And it's kind of...
You kind of forget that he keeps looking for the book.
He's looking for a book.
But you kind of forget that throughout the movie because it's like they don't talk about it. They're just sex scenes after sex scenes.
Yeah, it's just because it just dives into just random sex. And like he's talking to some girl in the bar. Next thing I know, she's zipping down his pants and kind of going down. And things like that just keep happening. And there's definitely less story in this one, but it's such a wacky setup with the Nazis. And then you have
the fucking Nazi is so creepy in the beginning.
Yeah, it's and then you have this random scene with Ron Jeremy, and this was the first time I think I've seen him in action. I know who he is.
Dude, you get to see him do karate. How amazing is that?
He doesn't do karate. He just kind of stands there.
Dude, he does like a high kicks and stuff.
A couple high kicks.
And then he gets like kicked in the nuts, and then he like is like, and this like slapstick like ding dong.
Yeah, it's such a weird scene because it's like he's such a dirtbag.
Yeah,
you know. But that's
rapist.
the thing. Like you can kind of like here's where I get to like with character showing who they are through this stuff. Like some people don't show all their true colors in certain moments. Like in this moment in the film, it's obviously a hardcore sex scene, but he's obviously you're like. Yeah, this guy's a total sleaze bag, you know, like,
oh, dude, yeah.
you know how much of a sleaze bag he is. And I don't think you would have gotten that from, you know, if it was filmed any other way. So that was somewhat interesting to me, but what a random, like such a weird scene. And yeah, oh man. Good old Ron Jeremy.
So yeah, but I enjoy this one for different reasons because it does try to do something new. It's just that they really have way too many sex scenes in this movie that you kind of forget that there is kind of this weird, you know, because Herschel Savage's character is getting paid so much money, basically like what, 10 grand up front for him to find this book who has can grant you, was it like internal life or something, so that, you know, this millionaire played by Jamie Gillis is doing corruption and stuff, also played in horror films all through his life. It's funny because when you see Jamie Gillis, you're like, hey, I know that guy, and then you're like, wait a second, why is he fucking that girl? Is Jamie Gillis a porn star? And you're like, yeah, and it's like, man, he's in horror movies, like what is he fucking people for? But you know, it keeps like, it's like, hey, here's money to find this book. After you leave, I'm going to start fucking this girl right here. Yeah. And then he fucks. And then it goes to the bar with Herschel Savage getting a blowjob. And then Ron Jeremy's raping somebody. And then Herschel Savage shows up and he's like, where's the book? And it's like, what the fuck? What are you talking? What book? Oh, yeah, the book that you were hired to get. Like, it just keeps on, like, there's way too many sex scenes that it does have this, like, really goofy Nazi, like, and they find out that Nazis are after it, too, because it grants them power.
Right.
We also have weird footage inserted at Adolf Hitler's.
Yeah, they use, like, stock footage from...
But, you know, it's odd because they really were trying to make this, you know, this neo-noir, like, weird, like, you know, not science fiction, but just kind of like mystery, like... Yeah,
because you have the whole, like...
Indiana Jones type. Like, yeah. I get even vibes of, like, Indiana Jones watching this movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is Indiana Jones plot. that he's trying to fucking grab something from Nazis.
No, totally, yeah.
But it really wants to be something else, but it gets too stuck on the pornos, which is funny because this is directed by Philip Marshak, who did Cataclysm, which was cut down into Night Train to Terror.
Oh, okay.
He also directed Dracula Sucks, where he has, it's a horror film. He has a softcore version where it's just a straight horror film rather than the sex. So I was expecting, I haven't ever seen this before. So when I saw Philip Marshak, I was like, oh shit, we're actually going to get, kind of an oddball, noir film from what it sounds like. And it wasn't. And I was a little disappointed in that aspect. But I really do appreciate that it was trying to do something different and be weird, because the movie is weird. It has a lot of weird scenes. And there is a lot of goofy scenes. So, but anyways, I had fun with it. Ron Jeremy's pretty funny when he's not being a rapist. And you get to see him do high kicks and stuff. And
well, I mean, he was, she was, I thought she was like a hooker, right? And he just kind of got carried away.
Well, no, because she says he's like, I'm not paying you, so I get to do what I want.
I thought he said, I'm paying you, so I get to do what I want.
Oh, okay. Then she's a hooker. But still, why do you have to get all rapey, Ron Jeremy?
Yeah, he gets. But
that's the thing, it doesn't fit. We're having, all this, softcore, not softcore, but we're having this, we're, dicking around, and then Ron Jeremy's like, put it in your mouth, you bitch. And it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
It gets a little roughy. It becomes a roughy, and it's like, man, this just doesn't fit at all.
Yep.
So, I would like to know, people's opinions on these types of things, especially people that have watched, as many horror films as we've watched, how many pornos, those people that are really into this stuff.
It's such a random dynamic that Vinegar Syndrome has, because they started off with just the 70s porno, right? Is that where they started?
Well, they're very
started bringing in some
films. Well, I mean, they were bringing in some exploitation movies, but I mean, their very first release was the Herschel Gordon Lewis X-rated movies that he said he never did.
Okay.
And they resurrected those, so that was a big thing. But yeah, their first couple titles were pornography, but I mean, by title 4 or 5, they were in exploitation and stuff.
Okay. Because it's so funny because a lot of horror fans are buying the bundles, and it's you're getting one horror movie, but then you're getting 3 pornos, 2 or 3, and it's all of a sudden, all these horror fans are building up a sizable.
Yeah, and I think it's appropriate to talk about on the show because I mean, a lot of these fans of horror are getting into the porno now because of Vinegar Syndrome.
Right.
So I think it is. I think this porno, these movies deserve a second chance rather than be oh, it's just sex. No, there's some movies to these things. Actually, there's some cool shit that's going on. So I hope people like it.
Well, as we start going through these, I will each month. I will be watching from a scientific point of view. What a
nerd.
Critical point of view of the story first. It really, honestly, it just makes me uncomfortable, and I don't need to see that close up of that going on. It's just now.
You'll get there.
I don't know. And then I think about it, what if I die, and then everyone's going through all my movies, and all of a sudden there's this pile of smut. All of a sudden, that I've left behind, and I got to deal with that. Well, I'll be dead anyway, but then now my family has to deal with that.
That's like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. When Jeff Garland tells Larry, he's like, hey, Larry. He's like, what? He's like, I know I'm in the hospital, but I need you to go to my home I need you to go on my cabinet, push the little door back, and there's going to be a stack of tapes. I need you to get rid of those. And he's like, what kind of tapes are they? He's like, what kind of tapes do you think they are, Larry? And then Larry goes there, and then he finds out that he was earlier in that episode, he was over at, his name's Gil, and it's like played by Bob Odenkirk, that Gil was a former porn star. So he finds out he has one of the movies, so he puts it in at Jeff Garland's house, starts watching it, and then Jeff Garland's family comes home, and Larry's watching a porno, and he's like, wait, this is Jeff's. And it's like, oh, God, dude, fucking episodes are so funny.
Oh, that's great. But yeah, I think about that happening.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't worry about it. But the funny thing is, like, on the computer, you can set your browser to basically, erase everything as you close down. So, but now we got this physical stuff laying around, and it just stresses me out.
I don't know, Sean.
So I'll probably start a box of this stuff for potential giveaways. So those of you who don't mind can be blessed with some naughty bits on Blu-ray and DVD. Sound like a plan?
I guess so.
I may keep SexWorld and Corruption though, because those two are,
Yeah, I mean, I think keeping the legitimate good like the really good ones that stand out. Because I mean, Vinegar Syndrome does have just straight porno, but I mean, there are some really really cool titles in those.
And they reserve those mainly for the bundle. I think gets those. So I mean, let's go over what's coming out in April at the end of the month here. Dolomite's coming out, and that's part of the April 2016 lineup. So we got Dolomite, which is the one that I think everyone's excited about, coming to Blu-ray. And then we got this film called Trashy Lady, which I believe is an X-rated. It looks like it takes place in early 30s or something like that.
Yeah, look at Sean. You're already on board with.
Well, I mean, if there's a cool story here,
there's a cool story, right.
I'll give it a shot. Shot for everyone, for you guys. But I'm trying to find the email where it talks about what the movie's about.
Yeah, Sean.
1985.
Who's in Trashy Lady? That sounds really familiar.
Let's see. Is this the right one? Ginger Lynn? Herschel Savage is in it.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I just...
What? You got a boner?
No. Just the plot keywords. Double penetration are in the keywords.
Yes.
Okay. Well, for you guys, I'll give it a watch. But the cover's really cool. The cover looks really classy.
Hey, it's Ginger Lynn, so I mean, she's a cutie.
She's pretty. I'll give her that. Yeah. And then next is the DVD called Unveiled. God, their stupid little top thing keeps changing. Stop. There's a pause button. I'm on the Vinegar Syndrome site right now.
And then All Night at the Pono.
All Night at the Pono. 12-unit continuous show. So 12. This one has got to be just straight porn.
It's not
Succula's in there.
Which is directed by Anthony Spinelli, by the way.
I don't know if I'll be able to watch all 12. But
is it 12 movies or 12 hours?
I don't know.
Because unit...
I gotta find my email.
Unit sometimes means hours.
Hold on, let me go to the ScreamCast.com because I think we have a write-up on here from Josh Obershaw.
Oh, wow. Josh is getting into the Pono.
By the way, you can go to thescreamcast.com. Joe Yannick, new contributor to the site, he reviewed Coming At Ya from Blue Underground. So check that out. Josh has been doing a hell of a time, posting all the release stories. Here we go. Vinegar Syndrome to release Dolomite. I think we listed on here the breakdowns of. No, he didn't. We just focused on Dolomite there.
So it's in the first volume we focus on Los Angeles Pono Theater with 12 examples of LA-made films produced between 1970 and 73. Included titles are All-American Hustler, Succula, The Erotic Ventures of Hercules, as well as anonymously directed efforts like Carnal Go Around, Sex Before Marriage, Homer the Late Comer, and the experimental subjective feature called Erotic Point of View. In addition to 5 more surprise feature films, feature early stars such as Renee Bond, Sandra John Holmes, and more. So yeah, dude, 12 movies.
It's a 3-disc set.
12 movies, all two. Like, dude, that's a butt ton of loads. Dropping loads.
Oh, boy.
That's actually Nick Manning's catchphrase in all his pornography films. When he comes, he yells, dropping loads.
Nice. Okay.
They make fun of that in Hot Tub Time Machine when he's in the bed and he yells, dropping loads all over this room.
That's amazing. Oh, man. So
just go to Google and go to like some porno site and type in Nick Manning compilation and you'll see it all, and it's really, really funny. Dropping loads all over this room.
Wow. So there you go. That's the Vinegar Syndrome bundles. I mean, they do great work. There's no denying that, and it's all about it. I think it all boils down to personal taste. But I like I said, like these are great deals, and if you're into all this, the bundles are going to save you a ton of money. 12
fucking movies of porno, dude, and it's only retail to buy from them alone, $27.98.
Yeah.
Jesus,
so,
dude.
There you go.
All that work that they put in.
It's crazy. So, also check out their exploitation.tv. Sign up for that. You'll have even more stuff to check out. Of course, they do more than just their titles, right? What other companies?
Yeah, they've paired with Severin. They've paired with Massacre Video. So, I mean, they have quite a few titles. They also have a lot of titles they own that they don't have on DVD or Blu-ray.
Yes.
So I highly suggest it's in my top 10 of all time. They stream a movie called The Severed Arm that I absolutely adore. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. They have that streaming on there. They also have a super unknown movie, never released on VHS, I believe, or DVD, called Slim Pickens is in it. It's called Hard Breed to Kill. Dude, it is fucking great. Some guys come along, they kidnap this guy's wife, shoot him, which they think he's dead, and then he comes back and fucking goes crazy. And dude, it's like from the 60s. It's so fucking good. It's called Hard Breed to Kill. Totally check that shit out.
Nice.
But yeah, man, their exploitation TV has a lot of movies. They got a lot of independent filmmakers on there. They got Dustin Mills. So they have a lot of his films on there. Yeah, dude, they're just trying to build a huge community, and it's it's really cool what they have going for them. So I hope a lot of other people jump on board and we can get that platform or that app on other platforms, and relatively put Netflix out of business. That's the goal.
No, Netflix can't go out of business, dude. I got Daredevil's on there.
Yeah, whatever.
Daredevil's great. I've been watching. I have been watching a lot of the Daredevil season 2. It's fantastic. They get the Punisher so right on that one. When it's like
they got the Punisher right in Warzone.
Huh?
They got the Punisher.
Well, yeah,
right
but dude, John Bernthal plays a kick-ass Punisher, and the scenes with him when he's in full Punisher mode, awesome. And I can't wait. I think they're going to be developing a series, Netflix series.
Hey man, he got his ass kicked by Benicio del Toro in Sicario.
Sicario?
Yeah, dude, he gives him a wet fucking willy.
Yep. So, cool. Go to vinegarsyndrome.com, of course. Check out all the stuff. Check out the packages and see if that will work for you. But good stuff. So, dude, expanding my horizons with this every month.
Dude, you'll get there. Trust me, dude. You're gonna come across some stuff, like literally. There's so many jokes you can make. But you're going to watch some stuff, man, and you're going to be like, shit, this is really fucking good.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, like I said, like if I can put aside the other stuff, if it's a good, compelling story, I'm totally in, balls deep.
Yes.
All right. Well, next week, we've talked about this, right? We're going to be talking about Arrow's American Horror Project box set. So this thing is selling out quick. But I don't think it's like totally sold out yet, so you can still grab your copies. And remember that you can get these from the UK version, from Amazon UK, or from Arrow directly, or you can get the US version, I believe through Amazon. You can get through Grindhouse Videos carrying it, and other places. So there are other retailers still stocking this, but this thing, I'm going to tell you right now, is worth getting. And if you can get it before the next show.
I think Mike has it fairly cheap at Grindhouse too, right?
Yeah, no, it's a pretty good price.
Like $60 or something
yeah.
like that?
Yep. Yeah, he is being competitive, which is great. Very hard to be competitive with these bigger box stores, but yeah, he has it there, and definitely grab this box set. It's a beautiful thing, and we really want to dig into it. So
some really great movies in there too.
We'll be talking about that next week, along with a couple other things, and of course, go to thescreamcast.com and go to the sponsors page. I'm going to be trying to update the sponsors. I'm going to be putting Vinegar Syndrome on there. I need to put Horror Box on there.
Yeah, I mean Horror Pack. Bro.
Horror Pack. Jesus Christ. I'm going to do this so many times.
Yeah, so go to Vinegar Syndrome, buy their shit, because, they're good friends of ours, and we support them, and they support us now, which is badass. You can go to the Horror Pack. We'll have a link. You can save $3 if you go through the link on the monthly pack, whether it's VHS or DVD, whatever you choose. We also, Coffee Shop of Horrors.
Yep.
Go there, buy some coffee, because that shit's great. I still drink it pretty much probably 3 times a week.
I just placed an order, so we'll have they'll be sending some giveaway items.
So we have man, we like getting so fucking sponsored out. We got
that's what I'm saying. Go to the sponsors page. Check out Wolfman and Mars. And
totally.
and Kevin Spencer's art. So
Grindhouse Video.
Yep, we said that.
Support Mike. No, I'm just going to say it again. He deserves it a couple times.
He is going to be giving a $25 gift certificate for us to his site for the next giveaway. I'm just back, from vacation, so we're trying to get things rolling again.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot more giveaways. And what we need to do is we need to figure out how to best handle the giveaways and the contest, because some of you are like a couple weeks behind. And since this isn't radio, like podcasts are just around, and that's how I consume podcasts, is whenever I have time, I listen to another one.
We probably need to put it on Facebook and Twitter.
So, yes. So, make sure you follow us on Twitter, Scream_cast. Make sure you follow us on Facebook.
Or Amino, if you have it.
I think just type in, and when you're on Facebook, just type in ScreamCast, the ScreamCast, or ScreamCast. You'll see our logo.
Yeah.
I think it's Facebook.com/ScreamCast2015, I think. But it's on the website. Go to thescreamcast.com. All the links are there to all our social media. Friend us there, like us, or whatever. Pay attention to social media, because we'll be extending these contests there, so you guys can be in the loop. Even if you haven't listened to the show, you can be in the loop to what's going on. and potentially win some cool shit. Sound like a deal?
Yeah, we also have Magnolia Magnet is going to be sponsoring one of the shows, doing a massive giveaway.
Oh.
I don't know if we're going to spread that out for a few episodes, or we're just going to do it one big episode.
Yeah, we got some stuff to figure out, man. Some stuff's happening.
So we
I
got
know
a lot
that
of
you...
shit coming. I mean, we're just getting. I mean, we're millionaires now. You know, we're sitting on hundies right now. Like,
And somebody made a joke like Sean's in Hawaii spending his ScreamCast money.
So anyways,
Oh, man.
no, dude, man, we love this just to do it.
No, if we can do this and you guys can be aware of some cool stuff, some cool distributors, maybe a store, another web store to buy some cool shit from. If we can do this and spread the word about cool stuff that we like, and you guys like that stuff and start buying it, that's really all that matters. So please support us.
And we've already done that. So yeah, we've succeeded.
I think so.
I've decided Vinegar Syndrome would be out of business if it wasn't for us. Just kidding.
I don't know, man.
Seriously.
No, we're any way we can help any of these people, we're glad to do. So please support them.
Literally.
We will talk to all of you guys next week talking about Arrow's awesome American Horror Project box set. Please pick that up and watch these flicks before next week. Please. You will not regret it. We'll talk to all of you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Sean. Bye.
Bye, Brad.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, BJ's going to be back next week, hopefully. Sorry, we totally didn't even, acknowledge that she's not with us. I suck.
Hey, man.
BJ, I'm
That's
sorry.
Part of your charm.
Big internet hugs to you. All right, we can
show if she's not on it.
we can end the show now because I feel bad.
Fuck the shows I'm not on.
All right, bye.
See ya.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. The party's just begun.